Good afternoon, everyone. I'm actually not a fellow. I work at ASI, and I am the product manager of SherlockML. Before I get started, I'd like to hear a huge round of applause for the fellows who already presented and will be presenting shortly after me. Thank you. So, I think the presentations so far must have proven to you that artificial intelligence is no longer a hype. It is a reality that's going to impact us as individuals, as businesses, and as organizations. In fact, McKinsey reports that 50% of companies investing in data science are now ahead of their existing competition. 36% of these companies significantly improve their day-to-day capabilities through the use of data. Well, we're also aware that this is not an easy journey to be on. It's not as simple as hiring some data scientists, finding some data, putting it together, and you have artificial intelligence. We realized that it wasn't that simple at ASI very early on when we were consulting other companies, which is why we created SherlockML. It is the world's best-in-class development environment for data scientists. We were very surprised in the beginning to realize that the people who were leading the AI revolution, the data scientists themselves, were actually lacking some of the most fundamental tools to be able to do their jobs productively. We realized that their problems centered around three main areas. The first one, they have to work with a variety of tools, variety of data sources. They need servers to start doing their analyses. It's not easy to bring all of this into one place. Secondly, they need to collaborate. They need to collaborate with their peers, with engineers, with non-technical people, and this gets even tougher when business requirements are changing on a regular basis. And finally, deployment. We should all agree that any kind of model any data scientist develops is most likely a piece of art. However, they're of no value unless someone is using them. So, having internalized all of these points in the Sherlock team, we decided that we'll build Sherlock on three fundamental pillars. First one, a rich environment, a flexible place where data scientists can go to find their libraries, to find their data sources, and spin up servers within minutes. Just get started as quickly as they can. Secondly, secure collaboration. Let's face it, in a data science project, email is just not going to cut it. You need something more sophisticated, which is why we built in very powerful collaboration features into Sherlock. And finally, being able to translate their models into consumable entities like applications, APIs, and reports that your whole organization can access within a matter of clicks. You might all think that this sounds like a great pitch. Hypothetically, it all sounds amazing. But what do these actually mean for us? So, in order to illustrate that, I'll actually refer to some of the previous talks that you've heard, and we will explore together how the fellows have used Sherlock within their own projects. So, Sophia, who just presented, was with Isaac Physics, and just as a reminder, she predicted the impact of Isaac Physics platform on students' learning and performance. And Sophia, before she started her project, was under the impression that she would be facing some of these problems that I just mentioned. She was thinking where she was going to get her data, how to bring it all in one place, find the right libraries, download her SQL Alchemy, her SciPy, everything. Well, to her surprise, it was all there. She started Sherlock, and she was able to connect to everything that she needed within a matter of hours. And she basically got cracking on her Jupyter notebook, again within her own Sherlock environment. And this is actually her environment, thanks to her earlier screenshot. Another example, Giles with Rolls-Royce. So Giles had the interest, well, Giles, as we all remember, was trying to understand who to invite to Rolls-Royce's next big launch event. I hope I'm on that very restricted list. Hint. And he also had an interesting problem. So he actually, before he started on his project, he wanted to be inspired by a previous fellow's work with Rolls-Royce. In the previous fellowship, we had another fellow working with Rolls-Royce on a different project. And if you think about it, this is a very common problem in organizations. You might have a new employee starting in a new team. They might be seeking some information. They go to 10 different people who tell them to go to a different place to find what they're looking for, or there's this one folder in the network somewhere that's hidden away that they can find all the answers to. It's difficult normally, but it was actually pretty straightforward for Giles because we had Rolls-Royce invite him to the previous project with the right levels of access. And he was able to access all code, all data, all the notebooks, any kind of report all at once. And finally, and I have to admit this is my favorite feature of Sherlock, Tom was working with Resonate to predict train delays. And he had to deploy his model into an API, which is basically an interface that works with the existing predictive engine that Resonate has. And the reason I like this feature so much is because it usually requires a lot of cross-collaboration. Usually a data scientist would work with a team of engineers to try and take the model, deploy it into a system. Well, this is Tom's API, and in his own words, he told me that it took him 1 hour completely independently to translate his model into an API. And now that he has this, he can access it anytime he wants, tweak the model, change it, improve it, whatever comes to mind, without disrupting anybody else's workflows. So I hope I have been able to convince you that we really did think this through at ASI and within the Sherlock team. And I'd also like to take another step back and think about the other reason why we're here. We're here because we want to hire the best talent possible in the data science field. However, I'd like to remind you that even the most sophisticated talent is only as productive as the tools that they're using. Thank you, and if you have any questions, you can always email me, visit our website, or come chat with me at the drinks. Thank you.